transportation. We are temporarily able to drive. We are all going to lose our ability to drive at some point in time. So how are we going to plan ahead for that? We either are going to convince one of our family members to help out with the driving. What are some other options if you're not able to drive any longer?
Access Calgary.
Access Calgary?
Taxi.
Taxi?
Self-driving cars if they're
Yeah, that's right. Self-driving cars may be an option. I don't know if they ever got that thing going between the zoo and TELUS, but that was supposed to be the first test in
Eli.
Eli. So if they could do that between the zoo and TELUS, why are they paying people at Calgary Airport to do it? Go back and
Those are
forth.
volunteers.
Back and forth. Are they? The drivers are volunteers?
I thought so.
Oh no, maybe they are. Okay, well if not, they're probably going to get their jobs cut. Okay, driving services. What's the main driving service in Calgary?
CTS.
Driving Miss Daisy. Have any of you used Driving Miss Daisy? No. There's another one that I'm not as familiar with called Pink Car Service. Now the idea is that these services, they are going to be a little bit more than a taxi, cost-wise, and certainly more than Access Calgary. But they are geared to working with seniors or people with physical challenges, and also sort of the safety thing in terms of children. Now, when you had kids and they got to be teenagers, all of a sudden you found that you're going to bed 2 hours before them. And if they've got jobs and they're not driving yet, there are people that then feel, okay, they go to bed, they get up 2 hours late, go pick up their kid from work. So anyway, that's how some of these driving services came into being, because the drivers, they're the screening and they're geared to work with kids, and people feel much safer knowing that they've booked with a particular organization than a general taxi. At Driving Miss Daisy, all of their vehicles, they have to meet certain standards in terms of being easy for people to get in and out of. Have any of you ever gotten into one of your kids' or grandkids' car and you've got your butt down on the ground and then it's impossible to get out of? Or the truck, if there isn't one of those SHIT handles and a running board, how are you going to get in or out? So consider Driving Miss Daisy, consider Access Calgary, Handy Transit.
What's Handy Transit? What's that? I thought that was just another name for
Taxi.
Well, Access Calgary, my understanding is that the Access Calgary are often like a taxi, pretty much, and that you're just booking a ride with them individually. Whereas the Handy Transit is more of the group in the
No, Access.
Access is both.
Access and that are all the same.
They're all the same.
You go
Okay.
through Access and they may send you a bus, a taxi, hire vehicle.
Oh, okay.
They're all the same, and it's all one bus ticket, or all of them.
Okay. So I'm wrong then. A fellow that I talked with at the Parkinson's Association.
It used to be Handy Bus,
Okay.
and now it's all under the transit system, Calgary.
Okay. All right. Thanks for clarifying. One of my clients said that before, like when you are still driving and quite mobile, you should learn how to use public transit then. Because if you've never used it, whoa, now it's really going to be a daunting task later in life.
Just a quick question.
Yes, Pat?
If you agree to transport some friends around, could that negatively impact your insurance? Is that something?
I would think if you're doing it on an occasional basis, Pat's question was, if you're driving people around using your car, could that impact on your insurance? My understanding is that most things, if it's an occasional activity, it's not an issue. Certainly if you're getting compensated for it, now you are a livery service, and that's totally different.
But even if you're doing it free?
I think I would still check with your insurer just to make sure. Maybe there is some very inexpensive rider you put on your insurance. But better that than getting snagged with something. I can hardly wait to be 65. I'm going to be 64 in January, so a little over a year from now, I get a transit pass for $200 a year. Unlimited travel. I think that's super cool. Now, maybe that'll go with the budget as well, but I think that's a great incentive. Certainly traveling, sort of daytime hours, but outside the rush hour is certainly an advantage. Okay, transportation. Okay, if you have people in your family and you're kind of wondering whether they should be driving or not, dig around in your junk drawer and find a 1 inch, or 1 foot wooden ruler. See if you have an old one around. And I don't know if this isn't really firm enough, but one of the really quick tests about driving is, are your reflexes quick enough? So if you're holding that ruler, you hold it at the bottom and you drop it and see where you pinch it. You should be pinching it, if you're holding it at the bottom and you let go and pinch again, you should pinch it between 6 and 9, 6 inches and 9 inches. If it's slower than that, or if you don't pinch it at all, your reflexes are not quick enough to be driving. That's a real simple test in terms of reflexes.
Can you repeat that one?
Okay, so I'm going to have to find one, but one of the tests is you get a 12-inch ruler, and you hold it at the very bottom, and then you let go and pinch, and see how far the ruler has dropped. And you should be catching it between sort of the 6-inch mark and the 9-inch mark. If you're catching it, if it's taking longer than that for you to pinch it again, your reflexes are too slow. And the other question for family members is, because families often object to the older adult losing their driver's license because, oh my gosh, now I'm going to have to drive dad everywhere. Oh, woe is me. And then you say to them, so you think dad should still be driving? Yeah. What about if your great-grandchild's in the back seat? Oh, no. So, pretty quick. So in other words, you may not be able to impress on them the safety of other people, but if you might be putting your own great-grandchild or grandchild at risk. So anyway, just a little food for thought. Delivery and online services. Again, that sort of comes into services that are available. If you couldn't drive, what services or deliveries would you use right now? If, say, today, you drove home today and that was the end of it, you never drove again. What services?
Grocery delivery.
Grocery delivery?
Get my husband to go for me on his bike.
Okay.
He doesn't drive either.
Well, this could be interesting weather challenges. What are the other things you normally are going? Excuse me.
Prescriptions? Prescriptions?
Okay. I think we're almost going full circle. When I was a child, my grandfather had a grocery store in a small town. And my dad, when he was a kid, had a bike with a great big basket on the front, and he delivered all the groceries.
Yeah.
There was no charge for that. That was part of client service. So it's kind of interesting. Oh, back to my family. I have lots of stories of them. My daughter, the middle one, she has enough babies for everyone. She has 5 children. And they even know what causes it. So the youngest one is 2 months old. The eldest one's going to be 9 in April.
Wow.
So she does this new
What, how old?
2 and 9.
between 0 and 9.
That's
Well,
nice.
then, should I make a little? I have cough drops too, so I want to think.
So she uses this service, and it's called Shop and Click or Click and Shop at Superstore. So she goes online and she just selects all the stuff she needs for her groceries, submits it, and sets the time when she's going to pick it up, and even put the cold stuff in the fridge and the frozen stuff in the freezer, and she just loves it. Can you imagine grocery shopping with 5 children? Well, one, there'd be no room for groceries. You'd have all these little beanie babies jumping out of the cart. Okay. Questions about transportation or comments? Linda, remember when we were talking about that A-Linker? That adult bicycle?
I'm getting one of those one day.
Well, the new thing is you don't have to buy them outright anymore. It's, I don't know how do you describe it. It's like a walking bike. So instead of pedals, you've got one.
You're gonna see, it looks like a big tricycle basically, but you sit on it and you walk with your feet, but you've got handlebars just like a bike.
So it's easier on your knees than walking. And if you're concerned about tripping or your balance, you're well balanced. It's sort of like a tripod position. Anyway, ask Linda if you're interested in learning.
Yeah, that's